We learned in last week's parasha that Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest of all prophets, is going to be punished because he failed to sanctify Hashem's name when he needed to bring forth water from the rock for Am Yisrael. And we learn from this something tremendously important about this concept of sanctification of Hashem's name as someone who represents God, Moshe Rabbeinu, who greater, that has the obligation to represent in a positive sense God to the rest of the people. And as the Jewish nation, we also have the same obligation to represent Hashem to the rest of the world. And therefore, the greatest mitzvah that we have is the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem. And conversely, the greatest avon we have is the sin of Hilul Hashem. How do we create and represent an image of Judaism, of Torah, and of Hashem in the eyes of others? There's a famous story in the Gemara in which somebody made a mistake and a rabbi bought a donkey from a non-Jew, and there were jewels in the donkey that the non-Jew did not know about, and legally the rabbi did not need to return the jewels because it was a mistake. However, the rabbi went and returned the jewels, and the Gemara speaks about how the non-Jew praised the God of the rabbi, praised Hashem because of the actions, and therefore we say it's even more important. That's because are not obligated to do so from a monetary standpoint, from the obligation of representing Hashem. I mentioned this because it seems to be that unfortunately we often forget what this concept of Kiddush Hashem means and our obligation to represent Hashem. On Monday night, there was a post on the Instagram of Yeshiva World News about an altercation a fellow Jewish person had with the police. And I'm not here to judge that person, why they did what they did, but I'm asking as a community, how is it possible that we're not embarrassed to go, take that video, publicize it, and not just publicize it, it has hundreds upon hundreds of likes, and the comments in which people are laughing and saying, how funny, what a genius idea, to respond to the police and say, no, we're protesting for Black Lives Matter. Regardless of what your political views on Black Lives Matter are, we have to realize as a community, for people to show disrespect to the police, for people to lie to the police, for people to take an issue that in the world is treated with a sense of importance and completely belittle it, is something embarrassing for the Jewish people. Let's hide it. Don't publicize it. Don't put it on social media showing how funny, and then put a hashtag Black Lives Matter so the people who care about Black Lives Matter can see what the Jews really think about it. And then for the people commenting to talk about how great it is and what a smart move. This is what we're praising. We forgot about the concept of Kiddush Hashem, of Hilul Hashem, how Jewish nation needs to respond to authority, to accept authority, to be polite to others, to be not lie when it's blatantly obvious. These are Jewish values that we just throw out the window because there's something funny that's attacking something that we may not like politically. We have to realize when we're supposed to be embarrassed. That, I think, is the most scary thing about everything that occurred here. We forgot what our mission is. We forgot what our core mission as the Jewish people are, to sanctify God's name. And we can't even recognize when we make the mistake, and we actively publicize the mistake and support the people who are publicizing it. This, to me, is something that tells us we need to take a step back, reevaluate our priorities, and understand the Jewish mission of a Mamlechet Kohanim V'Goy Kadosh, to represent Hashem in the proper way. That's what the Rambam speaks about in Halchot Talmud Torah, about how a Talmid in Halchot De'ot, how a Talmid Hacham should represent the name of God, how the Jewish people have the obligation to promote that name of God in Halchot Yisodei HaTorah. These are foundations of Judaism that we need to take a step back and remind ourselves of, and hopefully our behavior in the future will reflect these values. Amen.